Yeah, the real shop talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the real shop talk. Let's go.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Tony Massey, and welcome to another episode of The Real Shop Talk. It's Monday night. It's 8 p.m., so you know what that means. That means that we are in the building and we are live. Tonight is going to be interesting.
The extra lit.
Yeah, it should be bananas. We are counting on you in the comments tonight. You are definitely the sixth man. We need you tonight because, well, first of all, 2 of us are married, so we shouldn't even be talking about this stuff. The rest of these guys are going to need your help. So if you're watching the show, that means that someone you know probably would like to watch the show as well. So make sure you share the broadcast with all of your friends before we get into it. So tonight we are going to talk about dating. Specifically, we're asking the question, are you ready to date? Now, of course, this means you're single. Hopefully, you ain't out there dating with a spouse. But we're talking about what readiness looks like. So before we do anything, of course, we need to go around the room and make sure that you are well acquainted or reacquainted with the 5 men of the Real Shop Talk. So I'm going to start right here with my man, Relationship Gumbo. This is right up your alley, baby.
That's right. Hey, everybody, it's Derek Jones, Relationship Gumbo podcast host, certified life coach, certified relationship coach. And I'm excited about this. I thank everybody for coming back, and everybody that's new, welcome. We're gonna get it in tonight. We're not gonna, hold our tongues. We're gonna be honest as usual, and I'm excited for it. So I'm gonna just land there. I'm gonna send the mic over to my man, Mr. John Singletary.
All right, John Singletary. I'm the host of the Help Myself podcast, 22-year Air Force veteran, published author, leadership consultant, all that good stuff, man. And this right here is going to be a great show. Hey, man, go to www.thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. I just dropped a podcast at noon today, Thoughts on a Marriage. I want y'all to go check that out because I think that'll feed into what we're going to be talking to tonight. So check it out. I'm going to pass it on down to the Gunner Man.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? I am Gunter Man from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. I am the host of the Gunter Man Show every Thursday night at 7:30 on Instagram Live at Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. I am a relationship life coach. I am an MC from around New York City, doing events from New York City to California. This is what I do. I'm so looking forward to this one. This is what I sit and talk to my clients about all day long, as well as myself looking to do it for myself. So it's beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful thing to have these guys who are willing to bare their soul and to talk about their past, and to lend whatever discoveries. They're lending it to us so we can actually make some shifts, make some changes, or learn some new things. So I'm ready for the ride. Seatbelt on. Passing it on over to T. Watts in the building. Right there.
Well, I just figured something out, guys. So we have 2 and 1 in transition. So
I was gonna say the same thing when Massey said that. I said, "What about transition right here? What about transition?"
We got all perspectives.
All perspectives is right here to tell you how we're gonna do this. So my name is Tony Watts. I'm the host of Triumphant TV on YouTube. Please go there and subscribe, like, and share. We'll be back in there at the beginning of September doing a lot of big things. Also, like my big man John said, his introduction for himself was crazy. And if you haven't checked his podcast and stuff out yet, you are missing out on some spectacular stuff.
Absolutely.
Spectacular, deep stuff. Each and every guy on this panel we bring our hearts. Like, I'm just going to just get emotional right now for a second. We do this from the heart. This is not a game for us. This is real. And we're going to give you everything we got tonight. You know what I mean? So I hope you, like Rick said, click, buckle up.
It's Liddy.
Do me a favor. Leave your feelings at the door. All right, Captain, let's go.
Let's go. Let them know about the 6 man. Talk to them.
Yeah,
comments.
So,
we need those comments tonight.
And here's the thing. I'm going to be we're not just going to be provocative tonight. We're going to be provoking. So let's start with what we know, and then let's move to what we believe and think. So I've been married now for almost 2 years. I was single for a while before I found my beautiful bride, and dating for me was an adventure, man. It was crazy. And at some point I had to determine my readiness. Am I ready for dating? Because I didn't want to be one of these brothers out here that is complaining about dating and never taking into consideration that maybe I'm the problem, right? So I wanted to make sure that I was ready in all aspects. So I want to start the conversation about a man's readiness for dating. And we're talking about all facets here. And then at some point, I want to move into the conversation from a man's perspective. How easy is it to determine, or what are the cues that let you know that you're possibly talking to a woman who's not ready to date? Not ready to date. So we'll get that in a second. With the permission of my brothers, they allowed me to shamefully plug myself. But I wrote this book called a Unsolicited Dating Advice from an Unqualified Source. And the book was basically my advice about dating, right? My man, see, that's why these are my brothers, man.
If I didn't have to go get it, I wouldn't got it too. I didn't think you was gonna plug yourself today.
My man. So in putting the book out there, I would make these short videos, plugging the book and then kind of introducing myself in this space. And one of the videos I did was very specific to tonight, and it talked about being ready for the gift that God is going to bless you with in a woman. And with the brother's permission, I'm going to show it to you real quick. It's real short. Check this out. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor in the Lord. A man who finds a wife, that means it's going to take some effort on your part. You see, the way blessings work is first you ask, then you believe, and then you receive. So after you ask, while you're believing and you're waiting to receive, you enter into a season of both expectation and preparation. You're expecting God to come through because you have faith and you know that he's going to give you the desires of your heart. So now you have to enter into that season of preparation. Use this time while you're single to prepare yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, and yes, gentlemen, financially. You see, you want to be just as much of a blessing for her as she's going to be for you. She's been praying for you, just like you've been praying for her. You want to make sure that when you come together, both of you are God's best for each other. God's going to give you exactly what you want, exactly what you desire. You just got to be patient and ready. Patient and ready.
Come on, be quiet. Shut up, sir. Shut up.
Hold on, I just get emotional. My brother's got my book.
Shut up. Listen, real quick. And I'm gonna make myself disappear so I can go get it too. So we can all show you. If you listen to what he said, right? And Tony, how long ago was the video? How long ago?
That was about 35 pounds and one wife ago. I'd say 2018.
2021. Like, hold on. 2021. So we're talking about 2 years. 2 years is the number of grace, right? You said some key things in that. Prepare yourself, ask God, then begin doing the work.
Right. And
he will give you the desires of your heart. How many times have you said on this podcast that you got more than you asked for?
Man. And here's the thing, Tony.
That whole video, baby.
I had a list, and I'm telling you, besides fine as hell, that woman exceeds everything on my list. And because I turned it over to God, and I'm not trying to get all religious, but I turned it over to God because I kept dating women that I liked, women that were pleasing to my eyes. And at some point I said, you know what? I'm going to trust God, and I'm just going to act as if. I stopped going to the club, started going to the gym, started getting my money right. I created an account. I kid you not. I opened up a new bank account with a new bank card, and it was just for dating. I put X amount of dollars into the account every month so that when I did meet someone and I took them out on a date, I'm using that dating. That was so I didn't worry about the bill because that's what I'm here for, right? And I'm telling you, the woman just showed up in a way that I couldn't have done it myself, right? But I was prepared. When she came into my life, I didn't have to tie down any loose ends. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to, get things together, my finances together, and all this other stuff. I mean, she's definitely, improved my finances. She's a, finance major, but for the most part, I was ready. So much so that I was like, she was trying to, I'm thinking about moving to Dallas. Nah, if you're going to move to Texas, you need to move to Houston. I got a spare bedroom. You can stay here, right? I was ready for her. So in my readiness, when I recognized her as the one that I wanted, my pursuit was not so much convincing her to want me. My pursuit was showing her, displaying to her, illustrating to her, this is where you want to be. So that's when I think of readiness. To me, if you're ready, you ain't gotta sell yourself. They don't make commercials for Rolls Royces, right? It's because the person who goes to the Rolls Royce dealership wants a Rolls Royce.
Where my handkerchief so I can throw it at him, man?
You gotta be ready for that. Right?
I think Tony Watts passed out.
It frustrates me that there's just so many men out here complain about the dating process, and I get it. It's hard. It's not easy. But you also, if you're complaining about a bill at Papados or something, like, come on, man, let that woman order what she wants. You're getting conversation. You're getting, you're getting an opportunity to get to know her. If you can't afford it, don't take her there. You're not ready. So let's talk about readiness. I don't want this to be about me. Let's talk about readiness. All right. I'll pass the mic.
All right, I'll go. I was trying to mix it up a little bit. The married man, the single man.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, John.
Guys out the way. We speaking from 2000 and something.
something.
Well, I'm one who understands preparation is the highest form of believing. Preparation is the highest form of believing, meaning that I take it from the perspective of finding joy, finding peace, finding that happiness in life prior to getting into relationships. My mindset is always one of the things that tells me that I'm ready is that I'm already in a good place, need to be financially, need to be in my heart and soul, how I feel about my life, what I do for a living. Go ahead, take it down, Tony Watts. That's for sure. What I do for a living. Even am I living my dreams right now? Part of finding that one is you daring to start the adventure of what your purpose is, what your calling is, or the deep desires of your hearts. You daring to step out and go live it, to make it real, because you have to believe in the midst of you living your truth in such a dramatic way, dramatic and traumatic, because sometimes it's not easy to go after your dreams. Sometimes it's you completely throwing yourself in an uncomfortable place. In order for you to grow, you got to take on things you don't know. You have to take on things you don't know. So it's in that pursuit of pursuing that purpose, that calling, that dream, that deep desire is where you have to believe that you're going to meet that person. The key thing is that get to the place where you have a genuine love for yourself, where you have a genuine care to speak your truth and to know that you can trust yourself first, that you mean what you say and you say what you mean, showing that real integrity. Then when you get into a relationship, you're not looking for them to be it for you. That whole mindset of you complete me, that concept of my life feels better, that it's my life is good now that you're in it. No. You might be better off getting to the place where you find your joy. So when you connect with that someone, you're now saying, I like the person that I am when I'm with you. I like the person that I've become or who I've shaped, like Tony Massey says, like exceedingly abundantly above all that he can ask or think is the person that he has found. It's no longer deciding to keep a little side something to keep you company. Ooh, let the side thing go. Is that easy? No. Because like if you grew up thinking that, any form of connection, any form of sex is what a real relationship is, you're gonna lean on that stuff. You're gonna lean on that stuff in a big way. But you have to understand a part of that is denying you your truth. It's denying you the thing that you deeply, deeply desire. So where do you get to the place in your life and your walk and your journey and your pursuit of your purpose to say no side until I can decide? No side until I can decide. And then no, you have to allow her to make the moves that she has to make. Just like when we talk about Bible, like Ruth, everyone talks about the Boaz, I got to get my Boaz type of mindset. But what did Ruth have to do? Ruth had to one, see a position that she wanted to, I like the way he looks. I'm going to position myself in where I can have access, where he can see me, Then the quality of work I'm putting out, you're going to take notice of me. And then on top of that, she came with an amazing reputation. Come on. Am I hitting them? Because these are the things that I work on. These are the things that I drive and I strive. Am I always getting it right? No. But as long as I know the truth, I will continue to pick myself back up and get back on the track. So how do I know if I'm ready? One, I let God be my sufficiency in all things. So the inner peace, the inner joy comes from him, not from a person. I'm not looking for her to be my joy, not looking for her to be my happiness. And then I'm going to what? I'm going to pursue my passion, my purpose, my calling. And on that road, living that with no sides, I can get to the place where I can decide on who's right for me.
Woo! My God, boy.
Yeah, man.
Right, so what we're going to do now is we're glad you guys showed up. We're going to replay Rick's answer for the rest of the week. So you guys just like and share from there. Thank you for coming. But one thing that Rick left out in his amazing definition of what Ruth did, right? She listened to instructions from a sage, from somebody who had already done it. So somebody who lived it, went through some suffering and some departing. And when it came time to figure this out, and if you really read the story, Ruth didn't really go after Boaz that way. Naomi sent her after Ruth. Boaz saw Ruth. Saw Ruth in all her glory, how she went and she didn't take too much when she gleaned from the thing. And that's why he said to his people, yo, who's that? Okay, you can glean a little closer now. I'm gonna give you a job. Come glean a little closer, right? And then when she went and told, after a little while, she went and told Naomi, hey, this is what's going on. What? He did what? Here's what I need you to do. She didn't reject her. She was like, you sure? This is what you need to do. And she went and followed those instructions. How many people out there that's ready in the dating scene is really to take real instruction and not hold on to all the ugliness of their past and move forward, regardless of what somebody that you trust tells you. Are you ready for that?
Ooh. Now, T. Watch, you maybe just remember one other thing about Ruth. For those who have been married already, Ruth is a divorcee. Ruth is a widow, right? She's someone who was married at one time. So, there's a chance for you. Here's an opportunity.
There's
for us, people like us who's been through a marriage. All right, John, I'm passing it up to you, bro.
Man, y'all getting into that Ruth and Boaz. Y'all don't want none of that smoke because Bishop Massey broke that thing all the way down. I'm not going to even try to get into his lane the way he broke. Y'all don't even want the smoke. I promise you, you don't want the smoke. But we talking about readiness. Let me take it to another spot. And Tony Massey is familiar with this. As Men of War, there's a readiness checklist before you can deploy.
Come on now.
And man, obviously you got to be qualified to do your weapons, all this big stuff. But it's stuff on your readiness checklist like dental. So you can't have cavities if you're going to deploy. And you're like, what in the world do cavities got to do with deploying? But see, when you get over there and you're in a deployed location to do what you need to do, you don't need to have nothing that would distract you from where you are going and what you're there to accomplish. And when we talk about readiness of being dated, you got to have all those loose ends tied up. We're not saying anybody's perfect, but a lot of times we want to get, Gunner Man jumped all in that, no sides until you decide. But sometimes we want to get into a real dating situation and we got a whole spare tire and we ain't take care of that. We want to try to commit to somebody, but we kind of raggedy, with our living situation. We doing a couch thing or we doing a cohabitation thing and we trying to get out here. But if you are truly ready, you got all of the loose ends tied up. And that means that's your spiritual, that's your physical, that's your financial, that's your emotional. You got all of that. You are ready. And what I love what the guys are saying, and I think we're all coming to an agreement when you talk about that purpose, the reality of it is, part of the search is making sure that you're somebody that's worthy to go put a search on, because some folks out searching and they don't even have the qualifications to be looking. So they, you know what I'm saying? So if you're going to go and find you a good thing, can you even define what a good thing is?
Oh, damn.
Do you even know if you qualified to be able to obtain a good thing? You gotta do the work. And so, man, if you want to get ready for dating, guys, gals, whoever, you got to put the work in. I'm talking specifically to the guys, but you got to put the work in. You got to be ready. And listen, it ain't about controlling or dominating. I think I'm trying to do a little pass. Or no, this way, that way. I'm trying to pass over there, but yeah.
But hold on, before my man Derek speaks, is also, remember, if you read the story, Ruth gave Boaz the time to go and get his situation at home in order. She allowed him to go and get his situation in order, whatever that meant. She allowed him the time to go get things in place and then came back.
That's because it was somebody else up the bat. He couldn't.
Come on. He's still Boaz, bro. He's still Boaz.
Yes. He handled his stuff with dignity and respect. Yes, Rick. Yes. Come on now.
I'm telling y'all getting into this Ruth and
So
Boaz.
all
right, let my man Derek go.
Pass it up with this guy right here.
Anybody talk to us, baby?
All right, so here's the thing, right? Y'all know I like to peel the onion back a little bit about the emotional side of this and how things feel when you're out here trying to date. And I remember, and I'm gonna talk about myself, and I know this is a story of a lot of people, and I had to figure this out later in life, but for a lot of years, the same logical version of myself wasn't choosing the dates. It was the trauma picking, right? And I always tell people, Are you picking the dates or is your trauma picking, right? My trauma from past hurts was picking like crazy. I was doing all kind of craziness out there, right? So when I got to a point where I was quote unquote ready to date, I had to realize that number one, when you pick with your trauma, it's extremely self-serving. You're picking based on how things are going to be for you only. I'm only choosing to serve myself. Well, if I'm only choosing to serve myself, the other person doesn't really get the full version of me because it's all about me. They may not know that because you gotta talk that talk. But if I'm only serving myself to help me feel better, or what I think I'm making myself feel better about the trauma instead of going back and looking at the why. When I pick based on the trauma and I'm serving myself, the other side of it, when I actually got to a point where I was open to receive my wife now, I had to think about how is she going, who is she, who's going to serve her? Who's that guy? Am I that guy? When she meets me, am I going to be worth her time? What does she get? Because I'm always thinking about what I was getting. If you think about what she's getting, then you got some work to do. And I literally had to stop and detox myself from this trauma picking type of behavior, sit back and really breathe and really realize, like, who am I? If somebody was to meet me one day and eventually want to marry me, what are they getting? Mm-hmm. And if you can't answer that, that's why a lot of times when women or whoever goes out on these dates and they ask these questions and the person's like, I don't know, because you don't really think about it. When you start to think about it and you open yourself up, you're not going to have everything. This is another misnomer. You're going to be perfectly, this is going to be the perfect situation. I got all my stuff ducks in a row. No, but you got a path that you walk. And along that path, you may meet somebody and they say, I see a lot of stuff I like, and I see you on that path. Let's go. I'm going to go with you. And that's kind of like how mine evolved. When I met my wife, it wasn't like, oh my God, it was like she had detoxed, I had detoxed. And we met somewhere in the middle and we were both ready at the same time. And it worked because I didn't have all that extra baggage and stuff, trauma. Still, you can't get rid of it. You learn how to manage it. But I left it behind me so that I could be open to her. If I was still on trauma picking mode, I might have hurt her.
Yeah.
So I'm a land there.
Well, I think this is a great segue into something else I wanted to share. But before we do that, John, I love what you said about readiness and the idea that, are you ready to receive what you're asking for? Quick story. I was probably around 30, and I decided that I was going to go to the Bentley dealership and test drive a Bentley. That was my plan for the day. I put on some nice clothes, drove up to the dealership in my car, and walked around the lot. This guy walked out in a nice suit. She's like, may I help you, sir? I was like, yes, I was thinking about test driving a Bentley. And he said, we don't do that here, sir. What? What do you mean you don't do that here? He said, sir, these cars are very expensive. We only do test drives for by appointment only and after a approved background check. So what I learned on that day was it didn't matter that I had the time, didn't matter that I had the plan. I wasn't qualified to even test drive the Bentley. We're not talking about buying it. We're not talking about driving off the lot. We're not talking about putting it in my garage. They wouldn't let me get into the car and test drive it until I showed empirical evidence that I was qualified to drive this car. So I know all these brothers out here telling women that, you this and you that and you this and you that. But here's what I want every single woman under the sound of my voice to remember. I don't care what your dress size is. I don't care how many kids you got. I don't care how many times you've been married. I don't care about how long your hair is. I don't care about how dark or light your skin. I don't care about none of that. If you don't see yourself as someone who requires qualifications, we're not talking about preferences here, right? Which you're entitled to. I'm talking about qualifications. You don't get to test drive, because here's what happens in the test drive. If you ever bought a car off the lot and it said previous, they don't call it a test drive vehicle. They call it a
demo.
What is it?
It's a demo.
It's a previous demo. Thank you, Tony Watts. A previous demo. And you know what you get with a previous demo? You get a discount. Now, this car probably hasn't been driven very far, probably hasn't been driven very long, but it's been driven by a lot of people. Miles. Exactly. So, do you want to be a previous demo, or do you want? And this is not me sex shaming. This is not me slut shaming or anything like that. I believe that consenting adults should do what consenting adults want to do. However, if you're tired of the rigmarole, and Derek talked about it, it's about choosing from a trauma space. I hear women say all the time, these are the guys that I attract. No, these are the guys you entertain.
Yep.
You're attracting all sorts of men. Mm-hmm. These are the men that you're entertaining. And I've been there. And I'm not speaking specifically to women, because men do it too.
Yeah.
I thought that I only deserved a certain type of woman because I evaluated myself through my own lens of trauma. You know, having dealt with childhood trauma, having dealt with PTSD, you know, having dealt with being previously divorced and all this other stuff. I just started piling on all of these things, disqualifying me from the woman that I really deserved. And so I started dating women that I knew were broken so that I wouldn't have to focus on the fact that I was, right? And all I'm doing is test driving. And it isn't about the sex, because there's an emotional aspect to dating that we can't ignore. Every time you go out with someone, there's an emotional imprint that is made on that date, whether it was successful or unsuccessful. And you start to formulate a mindset about the opposite sex. You start formulating a mindset about dating. You start formulating a mindset about yourself. You start formulating a mindset about the whole experience. And then you start saying these damaging, disqualifying statements like, there are no good men out there. Dating sucks. Ain't nobody in Houston. I mean, I hear people say you can't date nobody and you got to move somewhere else. You can't date nobody in Houston. In Houston? You can't date nobody in Atlanta, really? And Chicago. I mean, these people are talking like they're from Topeka, Kansas. You're in a major metropolitan. There's plenty of men and women out there. But because you're picking from that trauma space that Derek talked about, and because you're continuing that cycle and never seeing yourself as someone who you have to meet certain qualifications for me to say yes. And I don't owe you anything. I don't owe you a conversation. I don't owe you a text. I don't owe you nothing. And I damn sure don't owe you a date or sex. You know, and that's just the mindset you have to develop. When that man laughed at me, we don't do that here, sir. I was embarrassed, but at the same time, there was a standard. This man reminded me, this is not a Toyota dealership, man. You can't walk in here to test drive one of our $200,000-$300,000 cars. You crazy? No, we doing background checks, credit checks, you know, the whole nine. Because I don't have time to waste, right? I'm selling Bentleys here. We don't do volume here. I sell one car, my kids eat for the rest of the month. So that's the mindset you have to have. I'm a Bentley, right? And you have to qualify to test drive this, because I'm only allowing well-qualified buyers to test drive this, right? But I want to get into this video.
Before you go to the video, because I just got to come behind you, and I'm sorry. You are more, and his analogy is so spot on, because I ran car dealerships for years, and we rag some cars out, and we sell them to people. We like, he's got a whore of a car. That means it's been test drive so many times. So Tony is so on point. But what I want you guys to understand is you are priceless. So your value should be so much more than a Bentley. Who you let test drive you, who you let spend time in you. Let's put it this way. You bring life into the world. And when you intermingle with so many different people, that life, it all, man, listen, I'm not going to get into that part right now. You just, like Tony said, go priceless.
Yeah.
Put your stock up, and people will hope change their mind how they deal with you.
Yeah. And stop letting people convince you of things that are not true. I don't give a damn what these people say. I don't care how many kids you have. I don't care how much your dress size is. I don't care about none of that. Because a grown man is going to see those children as an opportunity to impart wisdom onto the next generation. A grown man will see you through the lens of love. And if you need to change something about you, he's going to empower you, not force you, empower you to create that change. Matter of fact, he's going to do it with you and create couple goals. A grown man will not love you through your trauma. A grown man will love you while you deal with your trauma. A grown man will take a step back and say, you know what? You need to deal with this, and I'll stay here in the peripheral. I'll stay here on the outskirts while you deal with these things, but you're not going to push me away. A grown man understands that the friend zone is an opportunity. The friend zone is an opportunity for me to get to know you without having to deal with all of the stuff that comes with dating. You know what? Let me show the video. This is my bag, man.
Let's go.
A 3-minute video, and it is a really cute video, and it illustrates from a woman's perspective.
Right.
Dating, and this goes right into what Derek talked about, being ready, and also what John talked about. Not just readying yourself financially and physically, but mentally. Have something to say across the table. Check this out.
Never been here. Thanks so much for agreeing to meet me now. My schedule's so crazy. Good morning, beautiful. Good afternoon. I was just saying I had never been to this restaurant, and it seems really nice. What you doing? I am actually talking right now, as a matter of fact. To you. That's cool. Yeah, that is cool. So, what do you like to do? Man, so much, too much to name. Could you try to name them? You'll find all that out as we get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? Oh, okay. Well, what are you looking for out of dating? Are you wanting to be married with children? What do you want? Was it that hard of a question? Well, I guess that is the end of that. Yeah, my bad. Wow, I had some things come up. So, what you doing? Are you serious? What you mean? You're serious. What's the problem? The problem is you disappeared. And I'm sorry, that's not the way I communicate. Look, I don't know what type of dudes you used to, but I got a lot going on. I'm a photographer. I promote parties. I'm running for city council. I got a plumbing business. I throw boxes at FedEx. I sell a little bit of dick on the side. I got ambition, and if you can't handle that, you know what I'm saying, let me know. No, I appreciate a man with goals, don't get me wrong. But I also appreciate a man who puts in the effort to get to know me. Oh, so this ain't effort? That's what you saying? I ain't putting in the work? I don't mean no harm, but I don't even think you the female for me. Man, you wear suits to dates. Man, I already knew you was one of them females. Want a nigga to bend over backwards? I'm only one man, sweetheart. I can't do it all. I ain't even worried about nothing. I got a beard. It just grew stronger fooling with you. And I know you see these eyes, you know what I'm saying? I think we just need to go our own separate ways, you know what I'm saying? You go be perfect and not need a man for nothing. Bye. Hey, what you doing? I missed you. Send me a pic.
Wait.
Yo.
Yo, dude says I
Yo.
this at FedEx, yo.
Yeah, I got a beard. It just grew stronger.
That's like all.
No. Send me a pic.
Yeah, the pic when I listen to the videos of the manosphere, that's what these guys sound like. They got 50 million things going on, but ain't done nothing. And then they start dropping the word female. You this type of female. You can't appreciate it. You're gonna be alone forever. Doesn't have a conversation. Doesn't have a collection of words to put together. So let's help before we move on to the ladies, and I'm ready to transition. What can men do? Let's go around the room. What can men do to prepare themselves for dating? Single men.
They can go get this book right here. Listen, man, let me tell you something. All my edges were snatched. All of them. I used to have luxurious locks before this show started. With a razor blade, sharp.
Anyway, what can to prepare for? And
I didn't see it.
And the reality is that you're not gonna be 100% prepared. Like even when John was talking about the military checklist, there's only certain things you can do for preparation. But getting on that plane, getting on that ship, however you get over there, you're not gonna feel prepared, but you will be. So what can we do? What can men do to prepare for dating?
Okay, well, wait, time out real quick. Hey, John, could you show that book and tell them how many pages it is?
Why are you flossing, man?
It's like 70 pages, right, Tom?
Yeah, about 65 pages. Yeah.
All right. So he's giving you everything you need to do in 65 pages.
Man, listen, he didn't need no more pages. What he did in this book, man. Listen, man.
I just wanted to put that out there. It's under 70 pages.
Look, I'm a whole thug, but I might have shed a thug tear too, even though I'm a whole thug. Like,
I appreciate you, brother,
man,
but they don't want to hear all that. They want to hear what can men do.
You asked the question.
Even they don't want to hear all that.
To get the right information, we told him where to go. We showed him the book. It's on Amazon. Go pick it up. Stop. We don't need to talk about it now.
All right, fine. Let's transition to the women. How do you know?
How do you know
that you're dating someone who's not? What is a woman who's not ready? What are those characteristics? What does she look like? And now, don't get scared. I know y'all single and whatnot. Don't get scared.
Okay. For me, like we could say this as women, but I really just think it's a people thing. But you know, a woman that like can't, everything is somebody else's fault. You know, like I can't do this because, or this, that, or the other. You know, they're not ready. They're still in this space where they need somebody to pity them. And that's not a healthy foundation to start, you know, not even a relationship, but just the promise of a relationship. That's not a healthy foundation when they're still in a place where, oh, this happened to me, that happened to me. Because I'm big on, you know, it's not your fault that things happen to you, but it's your responsibility to get up from where you are. You know, if Tony Massey write a book and lay me on my back on Tuesday, that's one thing. But if I ain't back up on my feet by Friday, it's his fault I fell down, but it's my responsibility to get back up, you know? And so for me, that's a big thing right there. If they still in that cycle of blaming, that cycle of, you know, not being responsible for how they're going to move forward in the future. That's a big, she's not ready yet. Still.
Yeah. You know, I'll join you on that one, John, because, you know, I did that whole writing on hero, victim, villain. You know, whenever you're sharing your story with your boys or your ladies, you're almost always coming from the side of the victim. Oh, this is what that person did to me. Or the hero, all the things that I did right. And even though I did all these things right, this guy didn't appreciate, this guy didn't do this and that's it. But we very rarely ever come from the place where you're sharing your story about you being the villain in the situation where you were the reason why things went sour. You know, you don't want to own that side of it. So a clear line of demarcation on someone is not ready is when you listen to their stories. Remember, guys, and you know you get this from me, dating is what? It's about what? Gathering data. That is right. Put yourself in a position where you can hear the things that are coming out of the person's mouth. Listen to how they respond to situations. You know, I know it's kind of hard thing in these daytime and hour, but don't be so ready to jump into bed with them. Like, stop and pay attention to what's going on to see where they're at. So if you do have a genuine feel for the person, then you could at least situate yourself to hear what comes out of their mouth. So you will know that, yeah, there's a connection, which of course there's that attraction why you guys are going out maybe, but are you guys in alignment? How would you know if you're in alignment unless you sit back and you set up an environment for the person to be themselves? And that's why when Tony Massey talks about being in the friend zone is a good thing, because you could just be yourself. You could say what comes to mind. You can tell your true story without being like, okay, well, I can't really let her know about. No, tell her that. Tell her that, because then she knows what she's investing in. Like, imagine if you fake the funk so long, which so many people do. You fake the funk so long that when you finally with them, now the real you starts to show, and they're like, "Who's this dude?" Like, you've been playing the role of representatives for so long that they don't even know, like, who's this dude? Well, this has always been me. No, this ain't been you. This ain't who you presented. This is not who you showed up as. And that's where their friends are like, be able to say all the craziness that you've been through, but take it from the position of ownership. Because what we fail to remember when we speak from a place of the things that we did wrong in the situation, we're holding on to our power. Because what we're saying is that the situation went that way because I made the poor decisions, because I didn't listen to my intuition, because I was fearful of being alone, because I was dealing with X, Y, Z, and Z, Y, X. Because when you come from that position, now it's easier. It's easier for you to kind of speak the things that are on your mind. It's easier for you to say, well, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I've been through. This is what I've done. And this is where I have even improved. These are the things that I've worked on. And that's where the connection goes. That's where the connection builds. You have to set up an environment for them to be able to speak freely in your presence, so you can find out if you guys are in alignment.
Listen, Tashira said something very important in the comments, and Tony, you can bring it up again. Are you a victim or you keep volunteering? What is it? Ooh. Wow. Can we talk about that for a minute? And that goes for men and women. Are you a victim of these continuous bad relationships and she cheated on me and she won't call me back? Are you the victim or you just keep volunteering for the same job? What are you doing? That's powerful. That hit me right in the heart. Like, whoa.
Where the names keep changing, but it's the same person you're dating.
The X factor. The X factor. Right. All my failed relationships, I'm the X factor.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we take responsibility for that? How do you really take responsibility? How do you take responsibility to go, hey, this is me. So let me get real for a second. All right. Everybody that watches this knows I'm going through a transition as far as marriage is concerned. What I've done over the years is I took stock and accountability to everything that was my fault. And what I came to the conclusion was, it's all my fault. Even the things that she did wrong, because my inaction caused a ripple for her reaction. People lose this. Silence is an answer. Mm-hmm. Silence is an answer. And if you continue to do that, and people do certain things, and you mad in yourself, wow, they always doing this and they always doing that, you can't blame them. You gotta blame yourself because you've been silent the whole time about it. So you have to look into yourself. You have to you have to take a deep dive. It's gonna take some tears. It's gonna take some really balled up stuff and really give it out. And you gotta have friends like I have now and had before. I have a solid crew, and I thank God for that. especially through this transition, there's been a lot of guys who supported me, right? So I could go to Rick and sit on Rick's couch and just give it to him. You know what I mean? I can go to my best friend and he can call me out on my stuff. Like, Tone, no, she did this, blah, blah, blah. Nah, Tone, remember you did that. Nah, you can't blame that. You know, that's the type of people you need in your life to make you check yourself. You have to be willing to do that. You got to be willing to do that work, or you will not move to the next level unless you find someone loving and patient enough to help you move through what you're going through. Like Tony said, that person has to be loving enough to see what you're going through, engage and step back to say, okay, I see that what's going on right now. You want to talk about it? No? Okay, I'm going to give you a moment. And when you tell that person, because in your mind it's not going to work out, and they say, no, I'm not going anyway, I got your back. Are you ready for that? Like, this is some real work.
Heck yeah.
As I'm going to land the planes.
Yeah, but that's you taking back the power, because you have to understand that it's your poor decisions that you made that put you in that place. Right. And it's going to be you making the right decisions that are going to put you in the absolute opposite place. It's almost like you blow by the red flag. You blow by the red flag, and then you get mad at them for being themselves. How does that work?
Hey, Rick,
the red flag.
Also, real quick, that transition in that middle part is the scariest place to be, because you have no idea what tomorrow looks like.
So I'm gonna jump in real quick. I'm going to veer a little bit, but I'm gonna answer the question.
Yes, let's go.
The question was, how do you recognize if a woman isn't ready as a man? For me, it's having no boundaries or having extremely weak boundaries. And what I mean by that is, if you give me access, and this goes to Tony Massey's point about being qualified for certain things, right?
Yeah.
If you give me access to things I haven't earned, then I'm putting you in a box. It's not a good box to be in. I know that I don't have to show up for you if you allow me access to things that I have not earned. And this is one of the things, right, that Alicia made sure that I knew up front and throughout. She was like, look, I'm doing a lot here just to be your girlfriend. I don't have to be here because I got things to do. You have to be willing to detach, to keep your integrity, to keep your soul, your mind, whatever it is, intact, despite how you feel about this person. Because if they're not showing up for you, then you got to let them know that you're not going to put up with it. If you keep letting me unlock each chamber without a key, without doing anything, you're not really ready to be in something where both people are holding themselves accountable. Because I don't have to be accountable for anything because you're letting me do what I want to do. Qualified. I have to be qualified to even be in your personal space. Mm-hmm. I have to be qualified to set foot inside the place where you and your kids live. Ooh. If I don't earn that, I don't deserve to be there. And you have to stand firm on that. If you keep letting me have access, you open yourself up to predatory behavior every time. And you trying to figure out why. I was doing all of the stuff I'm supposed to do. No, you didn't trust your own boundaries. This is last point. A lot of people who are afraid to date, I can also show you someone who doesn't trust their own boundaries. Ooh. You got to stand by and stick by your guns. And a lot of this stuff, you'll be able to discard these people real fast. Stick to your boundaries. If you don't have none, or if they're very weak, you might need to go talk to somebody. You might need to find a coach. You might need to talk to your friend, whoever it is, so you could figure out, why don't I have any? Because we've all encountered people, male and female, who don't have. Men, you need to have your boundaries too.
Absolutely.
That was part of my redemption. For you to be able to stand in the face of something that looked real good and say, no, I'm good. That's a superpower for a dude. And a lot of women too. But for you to say no, I have things to lose. I'm not gonna let you mess this piece up. We hold on. You cute, but I can't do it. Men and women have to be able to do that because if I was single, I got a house, I got a kid. You just don't get to come in here. You don't get. You got to get qualified. You have to be qualified for that. For me too. Okay. And when you both are living like that, and you're earning things, then when you get together, it's solid. So I'm gonna land my plane there.
What awesome. I can't stand it. There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pass this portion of the session.
The doors of the church are not open. Yes, you have
Deacon Jones. Yes,
here. Since we're laughing about the church thing, how many of us who are so-called born-again believers, those who follow after some higher power, how many of us get into a situation and ask God first if you should move forward before you connect with someone in such a way, in such a giving of your heart and giving of your soul? How many of us have checked first with God and say, hey, God, what do you think about her? What do you think about him? Should I keep pursuing it? What should I do? How many people do that? Most of the time we do this. I pick mine. God, can you bless this?
Bless it.
Can you protect this? Yep. Can you make this wonderful? Wait. He's like, wait. Who's the God here? Who's the God here? So you work for me or do I work for you? Who's the doulos?
Right.
Who's the bond slave with the earring in the air? Yeah. You, by your own free will, have made me Lord of your life. Yes. And how are you just doing what you want with your life? How does that work? Am I wrong, Tony Massey?
No, how do you right?
How do you, by your own? No one can do it for you. Your free will made him your Lord and Savior. So how are you just doing what you want to do and then say, hey, God, I want you to bless this as I move forward? No, you got to run stuff by him. Your business, your thoughts, your relationships, your habits, your actions, your conversations. Get in the habit of talking to him first and then keep pursuing. Get the okay first. So at least you're going to get something from it. Now, God is so gracious and God is so amazing that he will take your past mess ups and find a way to bless you with them. Come on now. I'm someone who's been through a divorce. And if I didn't go through that divorce, there would be none of this Gunter Man. There would be I wouldn't be the fifth guy on the Real Shop Talk because I failed in that category. I went to work. I want
to touch on this right here. All right. What Bernadette said. I asked the Lord to remove who he didn't send. We love asking God to Lord, if this ain't the woman for me, get her out of my life. I don't want to be tempted by her. Lord, if this is not the man for me, remove him. Put him behind me.
You got to decide.
And then he does. And now you can't figure out why she's not calling you back.
And then you go back.
You go chasing, right? We go chasing after that which the request has been granted. The request was made and it was granted. And now we keep going back. And I call it in my book, time travel. We want to go back to who we were to date who we dated, but we're not the same people anymore. We've learned lessons. And I'm going to tell you right now, before you go back to an old relationship, and this is me answering the question, one thing that I will not tolerate is someone who does not see any redeeming qualities in an ex. Because to me, what that says is if you allowed someone in your life for any amount of time, and there's not one good thing you can say about that person, that's on you.
It's on you.
That's on you, right? And you have not taken accountability for the part that you played in the demise of the relationship. I don't care if he was Satan himself. You said yes at some point. Yep. That in itself, it should be a lesson that you learn from it, right?
That's right.
But before you go back to an ex, before you entertain someone from your past, you need to have empirical evidence that something has caused a lasting change. I'm not talking about missing you. I'm not talking about thinking about you. I'm not talking about, hey, I was at that Burger King, we met at the other day. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real change. I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about a life-changing event. I'm talking about something that has caused this person to reflect and reform. And if they have not done that in the course of your conversation, ask the questions. What is different about you? I learned my lesson. How? What happened? Talk me through it. What was the life-changing event that caused you to reflect and reform? Otherwise, all you're doing is walking back into the familiar spaces. Because here's the thing that we miss about the past. We don't miss the person. We miss the familiar spaces. When we reminisce about people from our past, we don't reminisce about the person. We reminisce about the things we did with the person, the activities, the places we went. That's the part that we miss. And then you find yourself back into that situation. And you're like, oh my God, how did I get back here? Because people don't change unless they want to. Simple as that. The other thing is your attitude towards me as a man needs to be cautious, but not caustic. Let me explain. I don't have a problem with you being cautious. I don't have a problem with you taking, like Derek said, taking baby steps, making me earn everything that I get. I hear these stories. I got a friend. I love hard. Then stop. Okay, because all you're doing is putting yourself in harm's way. You're opening doors for people who have not requested even entrance yet. You are granting them access to spaces that they have not earned, just like Derek said, right? So be cautious, but not caustic. And when I say caustic, I mean, I am not, and I'm telling you, I will not, I shall not bear the burden of your past mistakes or past hurts. I'm not going to do it. Now, what I will do is I will patiently love you as you deal with that trauma. As you go through that process, I will be there for you, but I am not going to be the dartboard for all the things that happen to you. Even if I do something that is familiar, be cautious, but not caustic, because I'm not him. And I'm going to do the same for you. The hard part is, and Derek, I think you, because I've listened to you talk about this before, you could probably discuss this better than I can. We walk into new relationships with old trauma, right? Mm-hmm. And we start to, we formulate this defense plan that's based on old data. And I love that Gunner Man talks about dating his data. I'll give you a real quick example, then I'll pass the mic to you, Derek. So right before I went to Iraq in 2002, I went through this combat medicine course. And part of the course we had to go through this 8 weeks of training. Part of the course was a physical aspect where we had to go through World War II style physical, obstacles, concertina wire, and all this other stuff, right? And we're training on terrain that matches wars we fought in the past. Well, guess what? When we got to Iraq is a city. Mm-hmm. It's an urban terrain. Mm-hmm. We didn't practice on urban terrains. We practiced in jungles. We practiced in these areas where it's open and like I said, concertina wire, like World War II. And at some point, the military realized we're not preparing these people for the war that they're going to fight. We're preparing them for wars that we've already fought. And in dating, I think we do this a lot. I'll never let that happen to me again, not taking into consideration that somebody's got a whole new that you didn't even consider, right? So instead of just trying to protect yourself from getting cheated on or protect yourself from getting, taken advantage of, start changing the narrative about yourself and understand that if my story doesn't make sense, if what I love about the truth is the truth doesn't need anything. The truth can sit on a plate by itself. It don't need no accoutrements. It doesn't need to be paired with anything. It's fine all by itself. And it's consistent. Because it happened, it will always happen the way it happened. And that's what I mean by cautious. But you can't give someone the benefit of doubt who has not earned it. And I think a lot of times we do this. Why? Because Gunner Man said it. We've asked God for this person. God has made it clear, I ain't send you him. But yet I'm going to force this person to fit. This square person is going to fit into this round hole. He's not anything that I want. He's not anything that I desire. He's not anything that I need. But damn it, he's here. No. That whole Betty Wright, half a man is better than no, it's not. It's
yeah.
Not. Derek.
You know, like we forget, because I have to clump myself in it too. We forget that when we allow situations to be, when we allow things that we know that's not right for us to continue to occur in our presence, it is us being a villain to ourselves.
Yes.
We don't remember. Like you often think, oh, what went wrong in this? Well, you can't think of anything that I didn't actually do something wrong. Yeah, you did. You allowed. So if you can't pick out things that you have done wrong, evidently you have allowed certain things to take place that wasn't right for you, that you knew you weren't comfortable with, that you knew wasn't best for you, that you knew didn't align with your faith. That didn't align with your faith, and yet you still was there. And then you say that it was his fault. He messed up. I never did. No, you messed up too, but you did it to you. You punched your own self in the face by allowing that situation.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Derek.
Oh yeah. So just to kind of to give a little bit of more context to what Tony Massey was saying about how we carry the stuff from the past forward, and a lot of times, and I'm actually doing a trauma show this Wednesday about some of this stuff. But it's like when you experience the trauma, wherever it comes from, it could come from a previous relationship or whatever. We get stuck there, and a lot of people don't realize that about trauma. You think you moved on, but you really didn't. And the way that this looks is, and I did this myself. I was in a relationship where I felt like I was hurt. So when I started going back out on the dating scene without even adjusting or fixing or feeling, healing or whatever, I chose someone based on the fact that they weren't that person. Not somebody that met my qualifications. I just didn't want to get hurt like that. So as long as they wasn't that, that's all you needed to be. So it's almost kind of like analogy wise, if you dating somebody that punches you in the arm, in this arm, you're going to go out there looking for somebody that don't like hitting this arm. You're going to find somebody that might hit you somewhere else instead of what I said earlier, you're detoxing. So you can find somebody who don't punch. I need y'all to catch that. Look for somebody who don't punch. Just because they hurting you differently don't mean it's good. I've done this so many times where your only qualifier was just be the opposite of this person. That's it. All the other stuff I can deal with. Just don't hurt me like this. That's when your trauma picks for you. And we do this all the time. And the more you do it, and I talked about this a little bit, even on the show that I did about the haunted houses, those ghosts, they following you. Everywhere you go, they don't go anywhere. You didn't purge them. You didn't.
I'm triggered.
You carry them with you, and you think because you lonely, nobody's checking for you. When you go out there and you start dating in a certain way to try to find something without knowing what you want, all of that other stuff is right there chilling. And that other person, here's the last point I want to make, and I've said this many times in the past, that dysfunctional version of you, the person that you meet is falling in love with that.
Yes.
So when you do decide to heal, they don't recognize you. So I'm going to land there.
Woo! Woo! All right, so I'm gonna go back to the question of when you pray for God to remove something from you, right? And Tony said it best. We chase things, right? But the person disappearing is not only the what you see. Sometimes the person takes on a whole bunch of bad behavior, but because you have such a physical attraction and touch with that person, you don't let them go. Even if you're praying, God, take it away from me. You want it to disappear. God is telling you to make the choice to let it go.
Yes.
I'm making this person do all the things you do not like, you do not want, so let go. But you won't want to because there's this addiction you have to the situation. You know, on the other side, what Rick said that was so important. When we choose first without consulting, we make that our God. Now, anywhere in the Bible, anywhere because I'm talking from a Christian standpoint at this point. When you make something your God, God will either do two things. He will remove it from you and put you in a situation that you don't like because it's going to hurt terribly. I'm talking from experience. It's going to take it away from you ugly, right? Or he's going to turn you over to a reprobate mind where you're never able to escape that God you chose. So be careful. Those who believe in their faith, do not put anything above God. Nothing.
So let me throw another question out there as we come to a close. And this is not a question to you, but it's a question that I'd like for you to contemplate and answer. Are my expectations unreasonable?
Ooh.
I'm dating. I'm entertaining certain people. I'm looking for certain people. I got my list. Are my expectations unreasonable? And I asked that question, and I want to give a little background, and then I'll throw the question out there. Because right now, the narrative from the so-called manosphere is that you want too much, right? Your expectations are unreasonable. You want the world, and you're just not going to get that. So for both men and women, is unreasonable expectations in dating a thing?
I guess I'll start this one off.
Nah.
If you're single, evidently your preferences aren't good for you.
Hey.
Your list you make up is a list of stuff that you are truly not familiar with.
Hey.
So rip your list up, start with God if that's your belief, or find someone you could talk to about your past, a relationship life coach, a therapist, where they can give you some form of a reboot. And reboot simply just means what? New perspectives. Derek Jones, am I right? Like just new perspectives, new things to hold fast to, new things to consider, to look over. Because how in the world are you making up a list when you already proven that you're not good at something? Wow, what list are you pulling from? Am I too real? Sorry.
Did you do me a favor?
No, but all joking aside, same thing for me. I'm speaking about myself. I'm laughing, but I'm thinking about it. Passing that collection plate.
Say it again for the people in the back, Rick, because I don't think they heard you. I don't think they heard you.
No, come on, guys. Find a way to get new information. Find a way to get new information. And now I can laugh about it. I can smile about it. But in truth, I'm really just speaking about myself.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of it. Like how can I make up a list when I've fallen short over and over again? But what I do know is this. With all the new information that I've gathered from people and situations and discoveries by even going back to school, you better believe when the new person comes into play, I'm not going to treat them like my old self. I am not going to respond like my old self. Because though I was comfortable with those responses, I have proven to myself that's not going to get me what I need. So often when we find ourselves twisting and turning little bits of us to try to satisfy a person who we truly don't fully even know, because the other person isn't you. So how do you really know what the other person actually needs? So you're going to twist and turn bits of you to try to please them in some shape or form. It is a manipulation, and any form of manipulation will never, ever, ever give you the deep desires of your heart. Never.
Yeah.
So
Let me do this real quick. Real quick. To the point that I just made earlier, when we talk about is the list too much or too little, it's like what I was saying earlier. What version of you is creating the list? Number one, to Rick's point, what he just made. Also, has to be realistic. But here's another thing that a lot of people don't think about. Some people don't even have enough stuff on their list. It may be like one or two things. Like, y'all know, it's some people out here, all you gotta do is have a pulse, a car, and a job, and it's over. Like, it's done. And they good. And you boyfriend now, right?
Yeah.
Some people don't have enough stuff on their list, and that points to some other issues that need to be worked out. And so you have to look at it from both sides. It's not necessarily the amount, but it's the quality of what's on that list and what version of you is creating that list, because that's going to tell you exactly what you're going to attract. So I'm gonna lay there.
Woo, John, you want to jump in?
Yeah, man, let me jump in. So we want to get into these deep, abiding relationships and get to know somebody on a very intimate level. And then we only know ourselves in a very shallow surface way. And, you can't go out there and know what you need if you don't know who you are. You know, you can't receive the love that you deserve if you don't know how to love yourself, if you don't know how to, do all of these things. So when we talk about a list, or we talk about, are you really ready? Are you drawing? Health is magnetic. And when you get healthy, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, all of that, when you get healthy in the process of loving yourself, when you get healthy about your priorities and what's important to you, and really know, it's not even so much that you're actively out there, but it's almost like, and I don't want to get all up into this, but it's almost like you bend reality to your will, because things fall into place for you instead of you going out having to seek it so hard, but you got to know who you are. You got to know what you bring to the table. You've got to be found working. We've been talking about God moved this, God moved that. We do a lot of telling God to do stuff for us, like he's a cosmic bellhop or something, but we don't do a lot of what work are we doing. When we talk about the parable of the talents, the ones that were rewarded were the ones that were working with what they had. That last servant took what he had and buried it and didn't do nothing with it. So you got to be found working, and that work's got to be on self. That work has got to be on learning how to love, learning how to forgive, learning how to heal. And when you're found working and the master comes back and asks you what you did with what you were given, and you say, hey, I went and I did this, that, and the third with it, he'll give you double for your trouble, but you got to do the work.
Love it.
Excellent, bro. Excellent.
So for me, expectations starts with you not knowing yourself first, like everybody else has always said. And then you get into this manosphere, this women's sphere of all boxes are the same. All men are in this box. All women are in this box. So I'm gonna give you two tests that everybody knows about. There's a personality test, right? And in the personality test, there's 16 different personalities. Within those 16 different personalities, there are 2 to 3 different forms of that personality in there. So whoever's doing the math, so that's 16 times 3, right? So then you have the 5 love languages, right? Now, my love language could be touch, but right under it could be acts of service, right? Rick's love language could be touch as well, but right under it, it could be gift giving. So our love languages and how we approach things are going to be completely different. So if you approach anybody and everybody with your past hurts and problems, you're not going to figure out who you're dealing with, because we're all different. We are all completely different. So when you move into the expectation of this person is male, he has this, he has that, so this is what I expect of him, you got to you're throwing it all out the box. You're just destroying it. You got to get to know the person, but you must know yourself first. You must do that self-work. That self-work is so important, because if you don't do that, you're going to continue in that cycle of blaming other people for your problems, of saying people aren't crap, and I can't do, everybody's wrong, because you got to work on yourself first. And get rid of the expectations. And like Tony said before, he had a list. God superseded his list. He said he had to break the list up because God superseded. So I'm gonna land there.
Look, let me throw this in there real quick, because Lolita in the comments kind of memory jogged me. She says social media dictates your list, right? But here's the thing: is it your list, or is that a list based on your friends, your family, social media? It's not even yours. And catch this: if it's not yours, how do you get happiness from somebody else's list? We co-opt in other people's lists because we don't even know ourselves to be able to create one for us. And if you can't create your own list for yourself, why the hell are you out here dating? Because that person ain't gonna know what to do with you, because you don't.
Hey, Derek, tell them about the picking your love languages based on your trauma. Talk about that.
Can we do another show on that?
Okay, done.
Go down the list. Let's go down the list real quick. Just name all 5 of them real quick.
Hold on. Y'all, somebody talk real quick. I'm gonna pull them up.
Well,
I know the 5 love languages.
Why are you doing that?
Acts of service, quality time, gift giving, touch, and words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
There you go. Those are the 5.
So
words of affirmation.
While you pull that up, Derek, I want to talk about the list real quick. In my book, I talk about there's 3 rules to the list. First, you have 2 lists. You have your standards and your preferences. Mm-hmm. Your standards are those things that are the minimum requirements to even talk to you. Right. Must have XYZ, right? Your preferences are, if they have all of the standards, then this is what I prefer. So for instance, if I want a car, the car has to have wheels. It has to. That's a standard. I'd like it with white exterior and black interior. That's a preference. If I can't have the preference, I'm good as long as it meets the standard. The problem is we start to, degrade our standards so that our preferences are met. You know what I mean? And I joke about the 6-foot thing and everything like that. To me, if height is a requirement, then it's a requirement. I don't really have a problem with that, if I'm honest. Because the reality is that to say that you are missing your blessing because you're not entertaining someone who doesn't meet your standards, that means that you don't understand how God works. How is the God of the universe going to deny you the desires of your heart, right? But sometimes we put more into someone who meets our preferences. He's tall. He's got all the 6s, 6 figures, 6, whatever. But yet, I don't like the way he talks to me. I don't like the way he talks to his mother. He never sees his kids. He's not very loving. He never calls me, but he's tall and he's got 6 figures and all the other 6s, right? So your standards are your preferences, and your list should be surveyed over and over again. My wife says something that just was she does this at times. She'll walk into the living room, drop something on the floor, this mental, rock, and then walk out, And she said the problem with most men and women when dating is that everything that you want in a person shows up in a package that doesn't meet your desires. And that's so true. That's so true. And the longer you're with someone, the more you start to pick out things that you don't like, right? The other thing is, and this is to piggyback on Derek before I pass him the mic, stop sharing your list for validation. Stop going to people and saying, this is what I'm looking for. Because as that person surveys your list, what they're looking at, you're looking at your list through their lens of desire,
right?
Their standards, their preferences. And so when they hand you your list back with their critiques, with their red, pen all over it, they're creating a person that's perfect for them, not you. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so important that you don't, not only do you not allow people to critique your list, like someone already said, you don't allow other people's preferences to make it to your list. Because here's the thing, I don't care how tall he is, as long as he treats me right, as long as he talks to me, as long as he does this, as long as he does. But I'm so afraid that my girlfriends are going to say something because I got on my
push away my blessing.
Right. Or for men, the same thing. I don't care that she's not a size 4. That's not even my thing. But I don't want to get clowned by my boys if I bring, you know what I'm saying? And this comes down to the maturity of knowing thyself. To me, the most important question that should be asked when dating, with anything, in my opinion, and I got a whole chapter of it in the book, what do you want? That is a powerful question, man. Because what it does is it forces you to survey your mind and your spirit and start answering the question, what is going to make me happy? What is going to bring happiness into my life? Let me say that. Because I don't believe that anyone can make you happy. I believe that people can facilitate opportunities for you to find happiness within yourself. But I don't think that someone can make you happy.
Absolutely
you
right.
You have to walk into your relationships complete, looking for compliment. There's a difference. My wife does not complete me, but she does compliment me. I'm a force all by my damn self. But when she shows up next to me, woo, oh my God. Go ahead, D.
So I did this show last week about 5 toxic love languages. So the importance of this in this context is we know love languages is how you want to be loved, or how you want to receive it from someone else. So the 5 toxic, and I found this on the internet. Okay, so I can't take the credit for it, but these are the things that you will notice in yourself and or your partner that will be 100% toxic to your relationship. So I'm gonna read them off real quick. We talk about quality time, but when the quality time is only one-sided, it's toxic. That means when you're only doing what they want to do and never what you want to do. A lot of us have found ourselves in these situations, and you know what that feels like when you're only doing stuff to spend quality time just to shut them up. And you at home feeling like you haven't, like you don't get anything out of the deal. How many years you gonna deal with that? We're talking about in the dating phase, the early relationship phase, you already doing it. You got to start noticing these things. Number 2, instead of acts of service, it's called acts of self-abandonment. And that's when you do something for them, but it comes from a place of feeling drained and resentful. So think about that. You're only doing this stuff, and I said this on my show, to shut them up. There's no benefit to the relationship if you keep living your life trying to shut someone up. So when you're out here trying to date and you're kind of vetting this person out, a lot of this stuff shows up early. I need for y'all to understand that. A lot of this stuff shows up early, and
Absolutely.
you think you getting this stuff, but you don't know where it's coming from because you're not paying attention. It feels good to get a gift, doesn't it? Speaking of gifts only for trade. You're only giving gifts because you think you're going to get something back. That's the only reason you're doing it. You're only giving them a gift because you want to get it back. So that happens in a lot of relationships real early. And we like, okay, so they expected me to give them this. Okay, let me go ahead and get this certain dollar amount because they spent this certain. That's not how we build. I need y'all to hear that. Next one is touch. If your touch is only for the bedroom and that's it, it's a problem. If y'all are really trying to build something, that means no hand holding, no hugs, no kisses, only the bedroom. We only touch there. That Some people, I'm not your judge. Maybe some people that's your thing, but come on, guys. There's emotion. If you really care about that person and love that person, and y'all are growing, you might want to hug every now and then. You might want to, I know
Acknowledgement
gonna watch this and call me a simp, right? But you want you want human beings need that. Babies need that. So stop kidding yourself. The last one is, instead of words of affirmation, it's words of self-depreciation. That means when you use words to knock yourself down just to gain their favor. So you're making yourself, to Rick's point, the victim, just so that other person can make you feel better. That's not words of affirmation. Y'all need to come on, man.
I hate that.
So I'm landing my plane.
Don't land it yet. Hold on. I hate that last one, man. Woo. That is everything. I can't stand. Like, you tell me something like, I'm so fat. Yeah, you are. I'm not going to validate you with this ridiculous. No, you're not. And if you want a compliment from me, then just ask me, how do I look? But do not don't denigrate yourself so that I can build that. That is exhausting.
Exhausting.
And it's unfair.
Oh my goodness.
I was in a whole relationship with someone who just constantly tore themselves down, fishing for compliments. Exactly, Erica. Oh my God. Just ask me, do you like this dress? Do you like my hair? And I will definitely, but I'm not going to sit here and constantly build you up. Only it's like, you ever see those where somebody's building the cards, the little tower with the cards, or the Jenga, and then someone comes along and it all falls apart. That look of just because you put so much effort into this, and people are in whole relationships like that, where they build their partner up only for their partner to be the one to just tear that tower down and then expect you to build it back up.
Yep.
All right, let's go. Pick up the first piece. Let's start building again. I'm out. I'm done.
I'm out.
Tap.
I won't go into it deeply, but the words that follow your I ams will track you down, latch onto you, and become your truth. The words that follow your I am this, I am that, I'll leave it there because I don't want to stretch this too long.
I love that.
Yeah.
I even had a pastor say to me, the reason that God calls himself the great I am is because anything you put after I am, that too.
God, yep.
Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
So I'm glad Rick brought that up. I think that people should be able to explain honestly who they are. So if I walk up to you and go, John, who are you? John's introduction of himself tells everybody John knows exactly who he is. If you don't know how to do that, if somebody says, could you tell me who you are and what you like and what you want to do, and you're fumbling for the words and you're making things up, go back to the lab and figure that out. Before you go into the world, figure out who you are. Be able to articulate that plainly. And then when you show up to the world, then you show up with that I am blah, 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 blah. I am blah, 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 blah. And the person across from you will be so excited, be like, whoa, really? I'm interested. Let me understand who you are. What is that I am that you are? You do that? Really? Oh my gosh. And there's an interaction coming, because people can hear phony. You can say phony all you want. At some point, it just becomes hollow. So I really behoove everybody to grab onto who you are. And I really took that nugget from John about 4 months ago. We had a conversation and he said something to me and I was like, I need to start writing down a couple of things to really solidify who I am. So before you get out there, really understand who you are.
Amen. And if you only could talk about your man or your person based off of what you like about him because what he does for you, you got a problem with that too. If you say you like somebody and all you can do is rattle off what they do for you, Sorry. I'm sorry. Time to go. Guys, thank you so much. This is the Real Talk Talk. Come on. Come on. Tony Massey, say it. Say it.
I love it, man.
We can keep going with this one.
What I love about what you just said is that we find ourselves in situations where we're an extension of someone else. And I've gone through divorce. And that's what's so painful about divorce, is because now you have to redefine yourself. You have to go back to who you were before you were husband, father, wife, whatever. And so sometimes you are so caught up into, and again, I'm going to keep attacking it, because this is the manipulation that exists in this manosphere thing, to even suggest that a woman is out of bounds by improving herself and finding a career or a purpose, that her purpose is somehow tied to just her husband or just a man, is ridiculous. What do you come home with? I don't want my day to be an extension of your life. When we share even if you don't have a full-time job, if you're out just volunteering or doing whatever, you are pleasing that which is inside of you. Because I don't believe in the concept of oneness. I believe that we are on one accord, but I'm still in my agency I am still Anthony Massey. I'm still Tony Massey. My wife is still who she is. Now together, we make decisions and things of that nature, but we still get to have a sense of identity separate from our spouse. And that's not so that we are okay if we get divorced. It's that, I think Tony Watts said it best. You got to know who you are, right? And again, I understand that biblically that's not an alignment, and I fully admit that part I struggle with, because I think the oneness is more of a spiritual, mental thing than it is an identity. Like my wife was like, would it bother you if I hyphenated my last name? And then she gave me all the reasons, her son and all this. No. I'm cool with that, because although I love the fact that you carry my name, I recognize we're in our 40s. You know how hard it is to get your passport changed? You know how hard it is to get new ID? Come on. No.
To get new paperwork.
Right. I'm good.
Man.
And again, it goes down to maturity. And the last thing I'll say, and I think we should close it out, unless somebody else has something. Stop talking about what you won't do. Here's the thing that I love, this saying that I love. If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans.
Tell him your plans.
Not only will you do it, he will make it so that you choose it. We got to stop this whole thing about, these questions that I love the dating groups, and I probably shouldn't be a part of them anymore, but I love being in them, because I just love the questions that garner the most responses. Right. Who eats first? Should your man do this, or should come on, man. My wife and I have never had a conversation about who eats first. Half the time when I cook, I serve her first, just because if she's hangry, it's just safer to do it. You know what I mean? But we get into the minutia of ridiculous things. And John said it best. All the while, you don't even know who you are.
Right.
You have the audacity to create a list and say what you will do and what you won't do. But then if someone was to ask you the question that Tony Watts just asked, who are you? No. Not what do you do? Who are you?
Who are you?
No. Not that you're a mother. I get that part. But who are you? And when you start peeling back all of those, taking all those hats off, all of those identities that we give ourselves because it's safer to call myself something than to look in the mirror and to name myself, then at some point when everything is stripped away, who's that? But you want someone who knows himself.
That's right.
You want me to bring something to the table, and psychologically and emotionally and spiritually, you ain't got nowhere for me to put the table if I brought it.
we all leaned in with that one. Like,
yeah. So let's go around the table. Let's do final thoughts. It's an hour and 45 minutes. Final thoughts, and where can everyone find you? Shout out to I couldn't even keep up with y'all, man. Y'all were going crazy in here.
Yeah, women were on fire today.
Thank you so much for all of the comments. You guys are killing it. So yeah, let's go ahead and go around. Let's switch it up. We'll start with the wise one, Mr. Tony Watts.
I'm just here for the party. It's excellent. I love you guys. You guys did I got notes for days now to help me facilitate my transition. So I would just leave you with make sure you go pick up Tony's book.
Y'all need to stop, man.
No, right there. Pick it up. I am dead serious. Go pick up Tony's book. It has a lot of real rich nuggets. Pick them both up, actually. Pick both of the books up. Because, truth be told, I was pulled into a book club for his book. Just for his book. I was pulled into a book club for his book. We won't go into any details. And I was like, what? I should read what? Because it's you, I'm going to read it. But I was pulled into
that ain't what you said. Since we friends now, I'm going to put it out. That ain't what you said. Like, you were like, now you know how I feel about that. She told me the truth.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and buy this book.
Yeah, I'm gonna go buy the book. Right.
Better not be on no buns.
So go get the book. They're great conversational pieces. It's very enlightening. What you're getting now from him is you get that in print. And what's again is beautiful about both books, they're not long, extensive books. It's not a 50-year read. You'll be finished in less than a week. But make sure you have your notepad to take notes on the side. Dating is in this particular realm of doing it. It's pretty difficult, and no one has the magic bullet. No one has the magic answer. That's why we continue to say around the board that you have to know yourself. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. And those of you that serve a higher power, that look to God for your answers, I like this quote the most. When he found the lady, he was so busy in the word of God that God said, look up, there she is. I'll leave it there.
Love it. Gunter Man.
Yeah, man. Whew, where do we go? I don't know if I could say anything more than what we said. We hit so many good points, but let this conversation here be a clear line of demarcation that you should get a relationship life coach. You should go to a therapist. Listen to all the things you got today. Come on, we hit a ton of topics. Did you know all this stuff that we talked about? Because I didn't. So if you gleaned a bunch of things from us tonight, let that clearly push you towards not sitting in your sickness, no longer just settling for it's just going to get better. Oh, he will come. No. Go and find out, are you loving yourself? Are you treating yourself well? Are you showing yourself trustworthy? How about integrity? Are you filled with integrity towards yourself? So then when you connect up with someone, that you can actually see the person being that for you too. So these are my thoughts.
John, right before you take over, imagine if you had this information on a one-on-one session. Right.
Bam.
Yeah, I have clients on right here. They know, like, they hit you with the ooh, damn you, man. Damn you. John, up to you, bro.
All right, man. I got 4 things for y'all. Go to www.realshoptalk.net. All of us can be found there. Man, y'all hit the like button, comment, subscribe, man. If you're really rocking with us, man, support. Let the algorithm know that this is content that you are really interested in hearing. Secondly, man, go to Amazon.com, search up Tony Massey. I want to see about 20 books sold tonight. I'm telling you,
Oh, there's
you.
it. Look at that book right there. Get it closer to the camera.
Yeah, I'm talking right now, man. Put the book down. Let me talk. Let me talk. Let me say something. The third thing I want you to do is go to my website, thehelpmyselfpodcast.com. Check out my latest podcast, Thoughts on a Marriage. I think it'll definitely encourage and inspire you. Some good stuff. I'm pretty proud of it personally. But the fourth thing, man, look in the mirror. Tell yourself that you love yourself, and then ask yourself what you need, and then go about the business of getting what you need to love yourself more and more each day until you are filled with that love. Let that love go out into the world. And that love, I promise you, if you let that love go out freely, that love will come back to you.
And get that book.
Over to this brother. I did it right too.
So guys, tonight, man, tonight was we was in our bag tonight, gentlemen. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody that's in the comments, and I really want to piggyback on what Gunter Man said about coaching, therapy, having somebody to be able to see you and your actions from a bird's eye view. Because a lot of us have the audacity to think that everything we went through, everything we going through, that we know how to fix it. Most of us don't know how to fix it. And we muddle through these things and we keep either getting hurt or re-hurting ourselves. I like to say that. We hurt ourselves. And we really have to be humble enough to say, I need help. Because if you want the trajectory of your life to go in the direction that you need it to go in, you're probably going to have somebody figure out that Rubik's Cube, because that thing it's all mixed up. And I always talk about math and calculus. Some of us are good at calculus. You're going to have to get a tutor. You might need somebody to help you figure that thing out, because it's a lot of stuff we'd have been through. I'm telling you, like, we all up here on stage, we did, like, I think it was Mouth So Reckless said, y'all sound like y'all been through some things. Absolutely. We've been through some things. We made some course corrections. We still works in progress. And a lot of us, even just doing these shows and just hearing each other talk about our experiences, if you don't get into a platform or format where you can get it out and other people can say, aha, me too. Aha, no, maybe you should turn this way. Somebody that's kind of trained to steer your path, you're going to keep doing the same thing. I guarantee you. So I'm gonna land there. I'm also, if you go to realshoptalk.net, all of our Instagram links are there. If you go to my link and click on the link in the bio, I have I'm gonna put the flyer in there, like literally when we get off of here. But I'm doing the show this Wednesday at 8 p.m. On my platform, Relationship Gumbo Podcast. About the title is "How Do You Deal with Breakup Trauma?" And I have a trauma recovery specialist coming on the show that's trained to talk about it. So if y'all have been broken up, in the midst of breaking up, and y'all want to know how to do it, how to come out of it, and what steps to take, I have a professional coming on. So please come to see that. So that's all I got. I'm landing.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was picking up my copy of The Journey from Fear to Abundant Faith by John Singletary. My bad. It's at thebookpatch.com. If you go to helpmyselfpodcast.com, it's on there. Also, make sure you check out his Monday morning hacks. I love it, brother. So I'm just like, woo, man. Like the only thing I don't like about y'all is the fact that you're not here in Atlanta.
When we doing that?
I appreciate it only because I don't have to hear my wife. I have not met anyone here in Atlanta that I like. So I don't ever have to worry about you always with your friends. You always with I don't have, the only issue is the text messages. They go out. Who is that texting you? Hey, nobody returning.
Right. Who's going at it, man?
But the other thing I want to say is we are followed by some dope people. To Sure Talks, Love Tucker, Mouth So Reckless, TK's Chronicles of Black Sheep Podcast, Alicia Doves, Jones, my wife, Saya Stewart, Sherelle Thomas, all of these people, Queen
Dope
Cole, all these people.
Dope discussions with
Dope
Eric.
discussions with Eric. Oh my God. If you're not watching that podcast, you're crazy. So this is where iron sharpens iron. We have an opportunity to change the narrative. This is what the collective is all about. This is why TV shows like Friends and Living Single and all those shows are so popular, because people want to have people they can bounce ideas off of and get a positive feedback.
Yeah.
One of the ways to remove toxicity from your life is to bring positivity into it. It's like it will push one as you bring more in, the other will get pushed out. And the people in this village, and someone said it, I can't remember who said it, but they said, oh, here we go. Lalita Maharaj said, love my Real Shop Talk village people. You guys brought down the house, and ladies, we are part of this village as well. Yes, you are. And we appreciate you so much. But we also need you to share. So we need to get on your platforms, and not just as guests, but as as viewers.
Right.
Hit the subscribe button, hit the reminder, hit the alert. We need to be watching each other's content, because this is how iron sharpens iron, and building upon it. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating, I'm going to tell you something that changed my life, changed my whole concept, my whole perception, changed everything, and helped me to be in the space. It didn't help me find her, but it helped me to be in the space to recognize her. And that is, I'm good enough right now, just as I am, without any improvements, without any changes, without any, I'm good enough. And because I serve a God who is beyond anything that I could have ever imagined. I always say, I don't want a God. I can't serve a God that I can figure out. I can't serve a God that I can
not be God.
Right. But what I do know about the God that I serve is that he wants me to be happy. But he also needs me to understand that in life, you are going to have lessons and then blessings. If you're not willing to go through the lessons, then that's probably why the blessings are being stifled. You got to start with the idea. You got to know who you are, and more importantly, whose you are. You are enough. Do not believe anyone who tells you that you are less than because of your skin, because of your weight, because of your height, because of how many kids you have, because of your education or lack thereof, because of your monetary compensation. None of that has anything to do with the greatness that lives inside of you. And it's up to you to decide today, I'm good enough. So being good enough is the diving board for greatness, right? And I think every single man on this panel would agree with me that if you follow us, you're going to get something positive out of it. So we thank you for rocking with us. We thank you for coming on to the show tonight. We thank you so much. We will be back next Monday, as we are every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here. We want you to start pumping up the YouTube page. We got to freak that algorithm. We got to get more people out there hearing this stuff. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow all of us on our social media. You can find it on realshoptalk.net. And I think that's it, gentlemen. We out.
Yeah, the Real Shop Talk. Just come and take a listen. Some grown men with unbiased and honest opinions, and with no agendas, so you just gotta check it. Talking love and life from a male perspective. We keep it authentic, real, no filter. Leave a comment, be part of the show. We here to give you 5 gentlemen's views about manhood, no doubt. This the show you've been needing, yeah, it's the Real Shop Talk. Let's go.